So we're going to look at some of the fundamentals of the Miami Heat defensive principles. And what you're going to see, it's the team that's very sound in what they do. And it's a team that's not afraid to go deep into their bench. So for them to be able to throw a lot of bodies super early, especially playing 82 games, for you to be able to play 11 players, 12 players, you keep your players fresh and you don't have to rely too much on your star players. And we're really going to dive into what they do really good defensively. Defensively, what we have to see is just, number one thing is in transition. When a shot goes up, what we're able to see is players get back on the release of the shot. So here you have Kyle Lowry right here. And when that shot goes up, you can see he's already sprinting back, right? So by the time the Lakers catch the ball, you already got 2-3 players behind the line of the ball. So this is the line of the ball right here. Where the ball is, we go horizontally, and this is the line of the ball. We already got 3 players. And what that does, that keeps a lot of players, especially like the Lakers who love to get out in transition, that keeps them in a situation where they don't have opportunities to get out. So here, bodies, hands, and we're just able to, here's another one situation here. Kyle doesn't even know. He knows Tyler Hero is going to shoot this, right? Knowing your personnel. Jaquez gets back as well. And then boom, rebound. And look, we already got all of our players back. So now what ends up happening is that LeBron catches this ball here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got bodies in the half court. So not able to create as many transition opportunities and limiting teams, especially like the Lakers who love to get out in transition. And then just here, we contest, go to corner threes, rebound, and then we're able to just go. Now, one thing about having a lot of bodies, right? When that shot goes up, what that does a lot of times is that we do what we create. This is a wall right here, right? We got a wall where we don't necessarily give anybody a straight line getting down to the basket. So a player like Anthony Davis that gets downhill, when you go against a wall, it's hard for him to be able to stop because he's so dynamic and so big. So what ends up happening is a lot of times when a player like this decides to just find a little seam and then attack it, what ends up happening is now you run into Kyle Lowry, who is willing to take these charges, and that becomes an offensive foul. So really sound at getting back in transition. Here, shot, we miss, and again, sprint back. No hesitation, right? And I think this is what's super important, right? Especially in the NBA now, you want to fill in like as much as possible the corners. We make those quick decisions in the corner, right? So Tyler Hero is going to drift. On the miss of this shot, he's already sprinting back. Here, sprint. And again, same thing. We're seeing bodies. And now what ends up happening is that teams see bodies, and then that kind of like makes teams have to settle. Here, there's no line. We're in the gaps. Kawhi Leonard is going to settle for a dribble pull-up in transition for 3, which is a good defensive possession for Miami. Here, transition, we already got 2 guys back. Another one, we're crashing boards, offensive rebound push, and now look, sprint back. This is really good. This is really good. I want you guys to pay attention to Duncan Robinson. It's going to be right here. This is really good, actually, right here. Boom. Sprint. 1, 2, 3. Turn. So I can face the ball. See what it is and put some kind of resistance on the ball handler. And again, just contest. We're getting back into the paint. See bodies. Contest. And again, good job defending in the half court. Good job defending in transition. Now in the half court, what we're going to look at is very simple. Elbows, most of the time, are always covered, and both boxes. So you're here in the NBA, they'll say boxes and elbows. So these are the boxes right here. These are the elbows right here. So especially when the ball loves to get to the middle, and teams love to go to middle pick and roll. Look here, boxes, elbows, and we're able to just get here, and we keep the ball out of the paint. Here's another situation right here. Again, Kyle Lowry here. We're seeing bodies. Right? On this drive, we're driving into a player, right? So we got to make an early play. The help is there early. And then, obviously, Lakers are able to kind of break that seam because LeBron cuts off the ball really good. But again, that's sound. That's fundamental. Here, ball over here, boxes, elbows. So now what we try to do is we settle for a three. LeBron's gonna settle a three. It doesn't hit the shot. Really good shot for LeBron, but at least we keep the ball out of the paint. And when you keep the ball out of the paint, you keep yourself out of rotations. Here, not putting everything together, right? We get back. We got 5 players getting back. And again, build that wall. And now, ball's over here. Kyle Lowry's fronting the post. And then again here, box, elbow. So whenever this player drives, this player has to see bodies. And the ball never gets to the paint. And this is why they're one of the premier defensive teams in the NBA. Get back, right? We already got 4 players back. Really good at keeping teams out of transition. Putting it all together again. Here. Jaime Jaquez Jr. is guarding Paul George. But he's still on the line of the ball. So now James Harden cannot drive because you have somebody that is in the gaps. Keeping him out the paint. Ball never gets out the paint. The ball gets in the paint. Ball gets in the paint. They step out of bounds. Really good defensive possession for Miami. Here's another one. In the half court. Same thing. Number one thing what we got to do. Make sure that we're in the gaps. See how Duncan Robinson is high in the gaps. Fighting through these screens. And again, just keeping the ball out of the paint. Other defenses are seeing bodies. We got body here, body, right? And again, we get back to it. Could have done maybe a better job at Jimmy Butler being at the nail right here to not allow this drive. But for the most part, boxes, elbows. The only reason why Jordan Clarkson drives this right here is because he sees the daylight. Great offensive players are going to attack space. The space that he sees is right here because we don't have a player that is sitting at this nail. So he sees a bit of daylight, tries to get to the paint, but they do a really good job at contesting. Rebound, and we're off to the races. Here, now we're putting a bit more pressure up off the floor to settle ourselves back. So pressure to settle ourselves back into defense. And right here, the call, they go into their zone. This is their zone defense. So this is another key component of Miami. Miami's one of the teams that will play the most zones in the NBA. By playing zone, a lot of teams are not used to playing against zones. But what ends up happening is that there's only certain ways that you can beat a zone. Teams will most of the time will try to beat the zone in a certain way. So when you know that you can change the flow of the game with your zone defense, that kind of helps a little bit with you having to guard certain actions. Because now teams have to rely more on being in certain spots and one-on-one abilities to be able to beat the zone, right? You can't go to a ball screen as much. Some teams will use ball screen, but the ball screen now, when you have a player that rolls, you're rolling into a collapsed defense. But here, just the zone, and you can see if nobody's here, we're talking, we're pointing. Kyle is talking, Kyle is pointing. And again, keeping the ball out the paint. Just contest. And I really like what I'm seeing from their zone defense. Ball's here. We're in our zone defense. And again, the hands are up. And we're taking away space. We're guarding all this space. And it's a bit hard. And you can see how the Lakers now, it takes out the... That's what I kind of like of this zone. Is just that it takes out the... If you look at the team that is on right now, you're looking at LeBron and AD. Probably the 2 most athletic players on the floor right now. The zone takes away the athletic ability of those players. Right? So somebody like LeBron doesn't have a runway to be able to sprint, get all the way down to the paint. Somebody like AD doesn't have the ability to just set the screen and just roll. There's no momentum going to the basket. So this kind of allows Miami to kind of neutralize the other team's athletic ability. LeBron here does a good job at trying to cut, but again, the flow of the offense is different. Same thing. We're in a zone, a lot of spacing. We're guarding the middle, and then we're just talking. We're taking away, and it's just like the hands. We're closing. We're stunting, right? And I think this is a key component of it right here. Is when this ball rotates back here. If I'm Kevin Love, I'm guarding two guys. I'm guarding Austin Reeves, and I'm guarding Malcolm Christie right here. So if I'm here, what I got to do is I gotta give this player enough time to be able to get back. So what Kevin Love is going to do is he's going to stunt for him to be able to give player enough time to get back, and then just funnel his way all the way back to his position. And then again, really good job by keeping the ball out the paint. There's another one, little zone, same thing. We have the hands and really active 2 passes away. We're looking at Tyler Hero right here in the corner. When the ball swings, right, doesn't just stay, stunts at it and then gets back. And we're just very active, stunt and get back, keep the ball out the paint, make guys have to make plays off 1 foot. We know how important it is to make plays off 2. Teams are going to make a lot of plays off 1 when everybody's sitting in the gap. We're sitting in the gaps. We're in the gaps. We're in the gaps. We're in the gaps. Can't drive, settle, right? Really jump shot. So Miami, one of the premier defensive teams that we have in the NBA. Their defense is a problem for a lot of teams. So the keys to the defense is we make decisions early in transition. We build a wall. We try to keep the ball out of the paint by making the offensive players have to see bodies, right? And we try to switch up the momentum of the game by sometimes getting to our zone defense. So a lot of good things that they have going, and it's one of the teams that you want to watch. If you want to learn a lot about defense, please watch the Miami Heat.